Gators and Mussolini, Hannibal, Bliss in this party. Red man, a red tsunami, red Greeks in a red Ferrari, red clay for life, your body's medical, your ex a body, yeah, bless. They call me Mr. Manifest. You fellas screaming out the chest. I got this technique best. I found my destination to a red light. Rock your soul to the daylight. Hot jump going crazy, right? Nazi going crazy, right? Up, man, fight. I'm purple hazy through the night. I'm thinking cherry out of spite. I'm making suki for the slice. I'm speaking Alabama cream. I'm top of corn through the streets. I vodka raids on the team. Kusi King is outrageous. Kusa, kusa. I'm talking, they call me Nico Tussanui. Punk a flame like a dude. In the field such a core. And I got something funny. Good evening, and welcome to tonight's show. First name's Donnie, last name's Glover, in it to win it for the long haul. Baby, a lot of feedback on our most recent show. Tonight, we're talking about white indentured servitude. White indentured servitude. You know, during the last show, Horace said he is tired of people associating melanated people with being the enslaved. Because truth be told, melanated people have been enslavers. White people have been slaves. It's not discussed a lot, but that is the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is that white indentured servitude was widespread in colonial America from the 1600s through the 1700s. About half of all white immigrants came to America as indentured servants. They signed contracts for 4 to 7 years of labor in exchange for passage to America. I'll say that again. About half of the white immigrants that came to America in the 1600s and 1700s came as indentured servants. They signed contracts in exchange for passage to America. Guess it's no different than paying a coyote at the Mexican border. Coyote being a trafficker, of course. While conditions were often brutal, it was temporary, contractual, and not inherited. Chattel slavery was permanent, hereditary, and race-based. Why this matters, the racial construct. We're going to talk about whiteness as we know it. As we know, it was deliberately created to prevent poor white folk and enslaved melanated people from uniting. Then there was this guy named Bacon, 1676.
Bacon had a rebellion. And the elites used this racial division as a control strategy. Understanding this helps explain how racial categories were weaponized. But the truth of the matter is, early on, indentured white people fought beside captured or enslaved melanated people. Number two, the colonial elites chose to shift from indentured servitude to race-based slavery. So somewhere along the line, it became primarily for melanated peoples. Why? Because the servants eventually became free. They demanded land and created another class that white folk got to tolerate, deal with, what have you. The richer ones, that is. And then the permanent racial slavery solved the elite people's problem. This created a perpetual labor force, or as we say, a perpetual underclass with no freedom date. And it's 2026, and it still ain't no freedom date. Matter of fact, they're rolling back freedoms for Black people. Here to talk about this today, we got Mafia Shakur. Good evening, sir.
Peace, Mr. Glenny. How you feeling?
Good. Got Hannibal James on deck. Is that
Hey,
the
what up,
topic
though,
today,
man?
Hannibal?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Man, no need complaining. Osayu.
Yeah, shit.
It's a Muskokoliki.
See, yeah.
Yeah, it roll now, Mafia. It roll now. Yamasi.
Yeah, nah, you see you got it down pat.
So what we talking about, Hannibal?
Say again, sir.
Why does this interest you?
You know, because it puts a different perspective on indentured servitude, or what we call slavery here in this part of the world. This was a practice widespread.
Oh, I promise I would say hi to Ghost. Hi, Ghost.
That's Ghost, yeah. So this was a widespread practice. You know what I'm saying? They even had a thing called Shanghai, where they took people off the streets of London and forced them into the Royal Navy of Britain. So there was even more than just coming to the plantations in Maryland and Virginia. You get what I mean?
I want to tell you, because you've used that word a couple of times on the show. Out in Portland, Oregon, they used to Shanghai people. You go into a bar, you have a couple of drinks. They had trap doors underneath for the stools in the bar. You get a little sloppy at the bar. Next thing you know, you're on your way to you're on a boat to China. They were snatching people off the West Coast from America.
Right. I know that they was doing that to like the underclass people, and they was also doing it to children over there in London too.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
they got a big thing on children.
Yeah, they
if
call
you
it
didn't know, child trafficking, dude, it's people who actually live like that.
Right. And it's been going on since the beginning of them coming over here. You get what I mean? So they was bringing children that they picked off the streets from over there and bringing them here. You get what I mean? So there's a lot of things that was going on.
Savage does that.
So someone that's a monster, you know. So
and this is white on white. We don't talk about this. This is straight out of Britain, straight out of Scotland, Scotland Yard, straight out of Ireland.
But the term white don't come around until like the late 1660s, 1670s. You know, it was a way for the upper class to get the lower class Europeans to be kind of on their side, like a buffer between them and those who they had classified as colored or Negro, like the natives and the Africans. That was the reason to have a classification as white. You know. So this is a subject that needs to be talked about more. You know, it was a book by Don Jordan and Michael Wash called White Cargo, where they kind of go into depths of it and they show how it was. They show how indentured servitude was equivalent to like slavery, because a lot of people were lost in the gambling debts. You know what I'm saying? They like you mentioned the indentureship for like 4 to 7 years, but it was times when if they ran away or they had children by natives or Africans, that they had like 10 years added to that whatever indentureship they had, and whoever was the child, they had life, and the father that of the child got life too. And this is done by the Catholic Church, or what we call the Jesuits. So if anybody want to know what a Jesuit is, that's a Catholic person that's also a planter, meaning a Catholic person that also owned plantations. Right. You get what I mean? So that was a lot of them that was up in Maryland and Virginia, you know. So you got Georgetown that was down in the Carolinas, and they, you know, the other affiliates was up in Maryland and Virginia. That's right. A provocative picture there. So that's, you know, a lot of images that's unseen to a lot of people. But they say this happened like for 170 years in London, you know, where they took a lot of people off the street, the undesirables, and forced them into a bondage. And it got to the point where a lot of them was actually signing contracts to put themselves into this situation. You get what I mean? So how you doing?
It's a deep, vast history. I'm good, brother.
Yes, sir. Yeah, but then, you know, another wild thing was that they was only expected to live like 2 years. You know, the life expectancy of someone that was in this type of situation, working in the tobacco plantations up in Virginia in the beginning, was like 2 years. So they must have been working kind of hard up there. You know what I mean? So from what they said, you know,
I mean, if we can take anything away from the transatlantic chattel slavery, we can at least have an image how it was for everybody else.
Right. I think it's you know, so I was reading and I was doing my research, and I knew that like a lot of the Europeans, they referred to the Irish especially as Negroes, and the Scottish as well. You get what I mean? So what they did to them was basically kind of in line to what they did to us. But like I said, it was that buffer they needed to make the situation a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, with the whites and blacks, because if we remember, so-called white races like Italians and things of that sort, they just became classified as white.
Right.
In more recent times. So we could still see the remnants of what's been transpiring over time.
You know, even like you said, even with the Italians, I think in some senses, I think it's either the Sicilians, they call them Negroes or blacks. It's some type of slang term they have for it. I think it's Maricon. I think that's what it is. Maricon or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. If anybody anybody viewing can make a comment who know that slang term that's used for Italians being Negro or black. But yeah, you know, this is a complex thing. But then you look at it as at a level where people were doing things to better their circumstances. Because now I'm thinking about it on a more of an indigenous thing. You know what I'm saying? We had Indian traders that was down in the South. You get what I mean? And then you had certain tribes that was doing business with them. But then you also had tribes that was out against them tribes that was doing business with them, and these traders. So a lot of them were put into bondage, but the bondage was kind of a little bit different, where they maybe worked in the house and maybe got adopted in the tribe, or they was used for trade or somehow. You get what I mean? A little bit different.
Yeah, we got to look at betrayal on every aspect of the land and every tribe.
Right.
It wasn't just one betrayer, or you know how they say Jesus and Judas. It just wasn't one, you know.
Right. I believe that this situation this white cargo thing brings up the divide that happened to the Creek Nation. So if people could hear me out on this, the Creek Nation, our nation was divided into two, white sticks and red sticks, or peace towns and war towns. The peace towns was white sticks, war towns, red sticks. You get what I mean? Or
Right.
people, the white sticks were basically Irish people, these people that was being put into indentureship, you get what I mean? And the red sticks were natives and basically Africans that migrated into the upper creek towns, you get what I mean? And these were traditionalists, people that wanted to keep the ways of the Muskogee, you get what I mean? So what I'm saying is that because of what this Shanghai and this indentureship, these quote unquote white stick chiefs decided it was best to negotiate with these Europeans, but not forgetting their history of what happened to them. You get what I mean? But kind of in the sense of what most people do today, you know what I'm saying, of us, you know, not knowing our history and not knowing if we selling out or not. You get what I mean? Right. You know, that's a whole different topic for another day. We'll get into that a little later. But back to them, I'm saying that this white servitude proliferated within the nations too, within the Muskogee Nation, within the Anayawiya or the Chalaki with Junaluska, because he was a mixed Scottish Cherokee, or you had Chief Van, mixed Scottish, and you know, you got McIntosh, McGilvery, and all these was mixed Scottish chiefs amongst these nations. And I'm pretty sure that when you get up into Maryland and Virginia, you start finding Scottish and English people as well.
Absolutely, with the Miles family, with the Rebels family, you know, that's how you get into the Chavez.
The Chavez, the Gibsons, the Harrises, and all them families that make the natives across the Atlantic seaboard and the free people of color. You know what I'm saying? Them was triracial people. Some of these people that was into this white servitude mixed into these tribes along the east as well. You
Absolutely.
get what I mean?
Because I think one important notion that they lived amongst us before it was betrayal or slaughter. So, and they also had surveyors that came to survey the land and survey the cultures of the people before the betrayals or the wars necessarily broke out. So it wasn't just like they came and popped up and then we fighting right there.
Right. I think that we gotta understand the system, especially like in Georgia, Alabama. Georgia became a state, like 1734, I believe, with Oglethorpe and them. And I believe that they emptied all the jails, all the undesirables and brought them here. And you'll start seeing like the Yamacraw, or, you know, you got the Yamasees, you got the Yamacraw, and all these people making deals with these new people coming here. You know what I'm saying? So it was a big mess. You know, it was, you know, they was dealing with the Spanish, you know, the Upper Creeks dealing with the Spanish and the French, and they had children and all these things prior to 1670, you know, prior to this racial classification that we have now, you know. So, you know, you got to think about what's the spoils of war, you know. I know I've talked a lot, you guys. You guys can chime in if you guys want to.
Nah, it's a powerful statement though. Like I say, even then during your genealogy, you're gonna see your ancestors come from different lineages and different cultures. And that ties back to, you know, if you talk about ancient texts like the Sumerian tablets or the Bible and things of this sort, you're gonna see all the same things that we uncovering now. As far as the bloodlines, the fight for power, betrayal, it's all the same thing.
Yeah, it's like nothing new under the sun. It's like, you know, the idea of being a homogenized or multi-ethnic person is not nothing new. You know what I'm saying? It all depends on the empire. You know, it occurred in the Ottoman Empire. It occurred in several of the African empires. And it occurred over here as well, and with a lot of the Algonquin tribes, the Siouan-speaking tribes, the Muskogee-speaking tribes, and the Caddo-speaking tribes, and other people. You get what I mean? So
Absolutely.
this is not nothing indigenous to one certain parts of the world. You go.
Okay, I want to get something in here.
Yes, sir.
This is to the audience. You ready? Is Alabama in the Bible? To all you biblical scholars out there, I want to ask you. You went to church today. Your preacher preached about the pastor's wife who had on a provocative dress. They were asking if she's a Christian or not. What do you think? Is Alabama in the Bible? Y'all smart. Y'all read Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, blah, blah, blah. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, the Acts and Romans, blah, blah, blah. You read the Pentateuch. You read the Bible. Is Alabama in the Bible? What say of you, Hannibal?
I say it is. And I say it's probably a little bit more complex than what people might expect. You know, I think that it all depends on the perspective. I think the story is not as straightforward as people think it is on what we've been taught. I think you got to look at the high priests of the Mayans. You know what I'm saying? There was a certain class amongst the Natchez or the Nachi. You know what I'm saying? Or if you got roots in South Carolina, like I do, my paternal line's last name is Edison or Edisto, Nachi, Cuso. You know what I mean? That's the Edisto Indians, that's Natchez, and that's the Coosa, the ancient Coosa, the mound builders. So amongst the Mayan, you had a certain class of people that was the high priests that journeyed into Alabama at a certain time. And they brought along these names and they brought along the tribe called Alabama. And these people say they descend from a certain person, and that's in the Bible. That's Jacob's brother's wife. This is the conjecture of the folks. I haven't researched it a lot, but it's kind of pointing that way, because amongst the Cherokee or the Anayawiya, you have a clan called Esau. And he, just look it up.
Down.
I think that's maybe a little deeper. Let me see.
The last one. A holy. Why you keep taking it down?
I ain't taking it down. I'm not touching anything.
Oh, it's got the 60-second thing on there. My bad. Daughter of a holy Bama. That looked like Alabama to me. A holy Bama.
Yeah, I think the context of where the biblical aspects took place, if you I forgot what the name of that map is, but it's a map and it shows North America with the biblical names and the places where Lebanon was, where Babylon was, where Cairo, where Egypt is. And yeah, that's where the whole Africa, indigenous North America dispute come from where did these actual stories take place. And if we know that these people that we dealing with will dig up ancestors' graves, why wouldn't they dig up these tablets and move these tablets to other places and rediscover them and put them on TV like, oh, we just found something to further push the narrative that they pushing.
Yeah,
the Bible mentions that Esau took Canaanite wives, I should say, including Adar and a holy, well, it looks like a holy Bama. I'm sure it's probably smoother than that. A holy Bama. But where I see that Obama, it looks like Alabama to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it just adds to the layers of the mystery here. You get what I mean? You know, I'm not an authority on it, and I'm not one to say it is or it's not. But I'm the
Yeah,
one who
it sounds
say,
like it, but we definitely would have to get someone who translates or studies linguistics to that degree.
no, but that's not the only, only thing that points that way.
Right.
Mormons point this way. You were saying,
Even
right?
some of the tribes like the Hopi, even the Muskogee. You get what I mean? Even some of the Cherokee with the Anayahuia calling themselves the principal people. Even the Yasan or the Mona Sucapona, people with black feet, they call themselves Yasan, Yesan. If
Right.
people study the derivative of Yesa, you'll see something.
Absolutely.
So they call themselves children of the what they call it, Yasan, children of the sun, children or something like that. Like just same thing like the Maya.
Children of the
That goes
sun,
back to that Egypt thing, like the sun, Ra.
So you wanted people to see that America's history didn't just dog black people. If you were poor and white in America, you was getting dogged.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think if you was poor, period, you know what I mean? No matter what. But then a lot of them look at a lot of the, like I said before, of how the English and them other races of Europeans classified the Irish and the Scottish, like the Moore family or the Goins family. They got the people that got these European crests. You get what I mean? So they call, like, they said that the Irish was the descendants of them. Or you got people that was in Germany called Schwarz. Schwarz mean black, or like Schwarzenegger. That means black something, or I think it's Schwarz. SCHWARTZ. That means black. That's German. And then you get into like what their jobs. A lot of the last names represented the field of work that the family did.
Right. Yeah, I think it was all systematic and things followed through. But as the generations moved on, they had to implement different things because people started coming together, banding together, having families together, betraying the power structure. That's how we get ancestors like mine, like Randall Revel, who had the double purchase.
Now tell people what a double purchase means.
Yeah, you can't introduce the term like that, mafia, and not give a description. You're leaving people hanging.
Well, the double purchase is when someone buys the land twice. So he bought the land from the natives, and he also bought the land from the crown, and that's what we call a double purchase. And that was Revel's Neck. It's called Revel's Neck now. In Somerset, Maryland, on the Eastern Shore.
Now he said an important thing right there, where it was some Europeans that was able to purchase land from some indigenous tribes, and then was able to purchase it again from the government. So first off, an indigenous person cannot sell the land. So all those who did so were traitors to their tribe and their people. You get what I mean? Because but the tribe never believed in even the chief owner of the land. He was just the conservator of the land, or the one who administered the law upon the land. You get what I mean?
The steward.
Or the mutual. Yeah, I think I'm using European terms like chief. You got Tayag, you got Miko. You get what I mean? You got Tustanugi. These was your leaders. You know what I mean? And a lot of these people that in Imathala, that was the second in command. Your spiritual advisor, your holos. And he was your people that was negotiating back then. Even with people with this family. Now look in Virginia and Maryland for this family here, the Moore and with the Moore family is another family called the Goins family. They always together. They all related from back in the 1600s.
You know, I'd like
Right.
you to touch on the fact that the word Moor is often found in our American words. Morehouse, moorland.
Strathmore, right? Because in Detroit we got streets like Strathmore, Brightmore. You get what I mean? You know, like in South Carolina got a real history up into 1822 with the Moors. You know, the Moors, they had a Moorish Sundry Act, and then they kicked out all the Moors by 1822. So you talking about from 1670s to 1820s, that's 150 years of history of Moors being there. You get what I mean?
Yeah. And this diversity within the Moors as well. So it's not just one group of people. I think when we use certain terminologies or tribal names or titles or concepts, we only think that is one way. When we speak of Moors, you got different aspects of Moors.
Right. And then, you know, you can look at the you know, it's records, it's rolls, it's, you know, it's a lot of documentation and of native tribes that left from the east and went to the west, and you would find the names like Moore, Goins. You would find names like Johnson, Harris. You find names like Goff, Goff. You find Thomas. You find you'll find Green, Brown, Black, White. These are the surnames of that our people took along the way. You get what I mean? And it's even maybe your surname might be one of them. You just got to do your due diligence and research you can.
I just want to share that this crest here, of course, this is a coat of arms. At the very bottom, it says Scotland. At the very bottom of this crest, there's Scotland. So these are Moors. These are the people you were talking about.
And that's exactly the people that I'm talking about. But then I'm saying that even the ones that looked kind of European on the surface had descend from people like this. You get what I mean?
So these are the ones that conquered Spain, dominated Spain for 800 years.
And conquered a lot, not just Spain, but they crossed the Alps with Hannibal. And, you know what I'm saying? To conquer Rome.
How you know they're the same people?
Because Hannibal Barca was a Moor. And then
so when we say Moor, can you say Moor because it's a term that had more than one meaning?
I think we're looking at the term to mean navigator, or a group of people or family that navigated the seas, traders. You get what I mean?
Now, Moor comes from Mauritania, North Africa, Berbers.
Right. They travel. You know what I'm saying? It's like navigation. But then it's like
but they were melanated.
Yeah, they was melanated.
Because Moor is also understood as black or melanated.
But could you also add like the Masonic order to it too?
Well, come on with it.
You know, I'm just saying that a lot of them got what can I say? Like the symbology behind George Washington chopping down the cherry tree. That's a symbology of the agreement with the United States and Morocco, right? And with the Sultan of Morocco, you get the agreements. And what I'm saying is that even with your higher order of societies, it goes back to this Moorish thing. They was educated people and they taught people and they was making governments and stuff like this. So you got to have a certain social class of people like we have now. You go get educated. You become in these fraternities, sororities. You might become an officer of the law. You get into these fraternities and these orders. All this is all stemmed from the Moors. Seriously.
Absolutely.
You know, think about like algebra and all this type stuff. That's all Moorish, right? How people learn algebra. How did it get to the places for people to learn it?
It was a lot of teachers, the teachers that traveled to certain lands. Seafarers.
Somebody said that's a deep one right there. You'll see it's a statue of an ancient Moor. I gotta find a picture, and he had the Star of David on his chest.
Yeah. Like I say, a lot of the a lot of classifications of people was, like what you say, amalgamated into the word Moor. So it has many different origins and many different expressions of it, because they grouped it up just like blacks, colors, and Negroes.
Right.
So Lindell wrote, the Christmas colors are from defeating the Moors. Lindell, I only asked that you added defeating the Moors after 800 years of being trained how to wash your hind parts, how to not sleep with animals, how to create irrigation. So
now, could the last name like Moreno or Morano not being a mixed term, but could that be the root word of Moor? Because Moreno came over here with Columbus on the ship from Spain, and a lot of the Moors were on the ship with him because they got it spelled with him. You get what I mean? And then you had the other quote unquote Ladino type Negroes that was on the ship with him too. You get what I mean? So it's not a far-fetched thing.
if you're just joining us tonight, folks, we're talking about white slavery, white servitude, white indentured servants, and how poor whites and enslaved melanated people were once fighting together, like in Bacon's Rebellion. Y'all know what Bacon's Rebellion was?
Yeah, that's one thing they did keep in the history books, is Bacon's Rebellion.
Yeah, I'm kind of familiar with it.
1676 to 16, it lasted less than a year. Armed uprising in Colonial, Virginia by Nathaniel Bacon against Governor William Berkeley, sparked by high taxes, falling tobacco prices, and conflicts with Native Americans, leading to Bacon's followers burning Jamestown. They burned it down. Though the rebellion failed because they killed Bacon, it highlighted class tensions, prompted harsher slave laws to prevent future unity, and is seen as an early challenge to authority before the American Revolution.
Yeah, I think that's when.
I'm sorry.
I think that's when, like, Fort Christiana, and I think that's when from Virginia they was pushing down south and started to go into like North Carolina. You get what I mean? After this rebellion here that you're talking about. Oh yeah, he wants some attention, but can't get none now.
We hear you, Ghost.
Yeah, shout out to the God, man.
Sweetness Horace is coming. He working, boo. They sold their daughters and put the sons in the military.
Yeah, like Barbados, it was a lot of like breeding plantations, if anybody ever heard that. So that's where they took a lot of the Irish and Scottish teenage girls and the wives of these people they took them to Barbados and had them mating with the enslaved people, whether it was natives or Africans down in Barbados, and then they shipped them children across the country, across North and South America as well.
Absolutely. But that's just a societal norm in the world. Like if you look back in history, the Garden of Eden was a breeding plantation.
Where you get that from, Mafia?
If you study like
no, where you get it from, Mafia? Where'd you get it from?
If you study like the what's it called? The Sumerian kings list and the Anunnaki, and this is when how they describe to you what the Garden of Eden was when before the flood and after the flood.
What'd they say?
The Lost Book of Enki. They just telling you how when they was doing creation, when they seeded.
Who was they?
The Anunnaki. When the Anunnaki gave DNA, when they did the DNA splicing, and they had the laboratories, and they was doing all these things to create the humans. It's the story of Enki and Enlil and all of they
I ain't
children.
buying it, Mafia. You don't sound too confident in this.
I understand. I'm just not familiar. I'm just not familiar with all of the terminology, but the Garden of Eden it'll tell you how it was a breeding camp.
Yeah, I think he was on to something when he was talking about, you know, you get into the what they say was cherubim's garden, and stuff like that. And I get it. He said, well, from that perspective, it supposed to be an experiment, and they was making the perfect slave class to dig out gold on the planet. This when he get into Enki and Enlil and all that.
Do y'all buy that?
You know, the cosign out of any group of people, the ones in South Africa, the click people, they got a more of a history kind of in line with that theory. You know, I think that's one of the groups of people I kind of researched and kind of see they had their ideology kind of line up with that.
And also the Bible, like I say, if you look at the biblical text, the Quran, the Torah, they have all the same stories that's coming from these ancient tablets. Like I say, the Sumerian Kings list, the Lost Book of Enki. That's the story that's followed. If anybody look up one that, it's called the Lost Book of Enki.
Even like you said,
say it again.
What does it say?
I haven't read the whole book, but this is where I'm getting the Anunnaki story.
Well, all I'm saying, Mafia, if we're gonna bring information to this table, we got to know what we're talking about. We can't say I think of.
No, I'm giving my perspective on it. I'm telling you that this is what they're saying, that the Garden of Eden was a breeding camp. That's the information that I brought to the table.
Right. Yeah. Where's your facts? What book? What book did it come from so people can look it up?
It comes from the Lost Book of Enki. I just said that 2 times.
Okay, why don't you put it in the chat so people can look it up? I've never heard of it.
Okay. Come on, man.
Well, this is a factual show. We want to give people,
I understand. That's what I'm saying. I'm you know.
Okay. I'm just saying. I've heard a lot of presentations, Mafia, and I know when people bullshit me. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, and that's cool.
I know, like
I ain't come on here to bullshit, bro. I could be watching the game cool and minding my business, bro. You think I'm gonna come on here? If I ask you where
Norfolk Greenmount is, I can tell you exactly where Norfolk Greenmount is. I can tell you exactly where it is. That's all I'm saying.
Man.
They're kind of like you leaning to like what the 42 laws of Mott, you know, like in Egypt, how they kind of compare those laws to the Bible. You get what I mean?
Be watching the game too. I mean, I'm sorry, but we try to give facts here. We try to give good information.
And that's what I give. Good information. That's what I gave. Good information. If anybody want to research the Lost Book of Enki, they can look.
Well, I don't want to research it. I want to know what it is right here.
Well, I ain't the one that give you that like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the Enki and Enlil, that's some high level. Well, that's some older knowledge, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I don't know if I agree with it or not, but it is what it is. I know that information is out here, just like the 42 laws of Mott, the Christian ideology and everything. And back to that, like, you know, if I could say like the Christian, you know, Christian was like a first term for white slaves. If you really look at it, you know, the term Christian was, you get what I mean? So it wasn't just like one who submits to the will of, you know, or someone that's a religious person. The first Christian were indentured people to their countries.
Yeah, man. It's a powerful statement, man.
Look like there's some good, decent comments in here. It talks about the Bantu people having the gene removed to make them simple-minded. Then how the other races was grafted from that. Or he talking about that book that you referencing.
Yeah.
So the Lost Book of Inky. You know, I think that's what Horace always talk about Dr. York, Malachi York. And I think that's one of the Enlil and Inky is something that Malachi York was talking about.
Yeah.
The guy who,
He definitely take you through the school, the creation story.
right. That's the guy, you know, he had the down in Eatonton, Georgia. He had his own place down there if the people want to know anything about that. But I think he was on to something there. I think that the stories, ancient stories, are prevalent today. Even the stories of old is something that we live by today, you know, within
That's
us.
all I was saying.
Yeah. Even like the medical symbol, you know what I'm saying? The two snakes going up there. Ain't that from Egypt?
They say it's from Egypt, but it could be from ancient Sumer as well.
Okay.
All the texts go back to different texts.
Okay. So
Any text that you find is going to take you to something else that's etched in stone somewhere or written on the wall somewhere.
mm-hmm.
If we could go to the Grand Canyon and look around, I'm sure we'll hear a few more things that we ain't heard about before.
Yes, that Grand Canyon, there's a lot of stories out there. But I'm looking at what Lyndale Jefferson is saying. He said between 1526 and 1859, there were 33 slave revolts in the United States. You know, and I think maybe it could have been a lot more because a lot of people weren't, you know, they weren't just being enslaved and taking it lightly like how we see on TV. You know, a lot of people were trying to run away and get away. You get what I mean? So, you know, we discussed that the other day too. How like what ways they was running away. You know, they don't add the indigenous aspect because you just couldn't run away without getting on these trails or even have knowledges of these trails between the plantations. You get what I mean? So I think a lot of things of our past and a lot of points is missing out.
It's spread out into different literatures.
Yes, sir. So here go another statement by Anton Hall. He said, Dr. Phil Valentine said, not all our ancestors were good people. Some of them were some MFs. And that go back to what we've been, you know, expressing on this show that we gotta, you know, amongst us we have people that's like gatekeepers and sellouts. You get what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's for every period of time. You won't see that in every period of time. And it's like Horace always say, we've been here for, you can't count on your fingers how long we've been here. You know what I'm saying? And we putting a lot of information into small periods of time that transcend from times before that. A lot of these things was inherited through generations.
Right. Yeah, that's my son coming in from Chicago, y'all. So the dog's really gonna act up.
Yeah.
So here your boy Planet online. Planet, they looking for you out there.
Yeah, peace and blessings, everyone. Experiencing a major power failure right now. And
Trump took that Venezuela.
It'll come back on.
Trump snatched that leader. They cutting power. The grid war is about to go on, huh?
Well, it is here. It is here, folks.
So we got Planet Wells online. He's going to join us if his power comes back on. But we just wanted to say hello to you from Mafia, Hannibal, and myself.
Hey, what up, though, Planet?
Peace, Planet.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, tune in if you can.
We'll have a good show. I will. And if you could send me a link too, just so I'll have it.
Okay, we'll do. I'll do it right away.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know, there's been some good comments coming in here. A lot of our audience do know about the Moors and their business and know about what happened here in South Carolina, and what happened over that way too. So this is maybe a teaching moment for some, but a lot of us is already in the wheel, are in the wind selling, on this information. He said, especially the Blue Vein Society. Is it what you mean, like blue bloods? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. I think that was a good point about the Slavics. When you get into that Slavic and the Moors, you get into like the Ottoman Empire. I think we talked about that, right?
Absolutely.
Not much. Tell me more.
Well, with the Ottoman Empire, a lot of them, you got the Persians and a lot of them, they had a fixation with a lot of the European women, and they enslaved a lot of people too, men and women, during their time and during their reign. And that's when you get like this, I think that's when you get this beef between the religions, you know what I'm saying? With the Ottoman Empire, how they was doing things. So I think that's the beginning of the current beef.
Y'all know who Denmark Vesey was?
Yeah, I heard of Denmark Vesey.
Denmark Vesey was down in Charleston, South Carolina, and he attempted to put on what would have been the most elaborate slave insurrection in the Western Hemisphere. He had been a cabin boy on slave ships, could read multiple languages, including French, and was heavily inspired by Toussaint Louverture's and the Haitian French Revolution. He tried to bring that same thing to Charleston. Denmark Vesey was so bad that they built the Citadel in South Carolina because of him. If I'm lying, I'm dying, and I ain't trying. Denmark Vesey, they built the Citadel in South Carolina because Denmark. You think Nat Turner put the fear of God in him? Denmark Vesey was along that same vein, but somebody dry snitched on him, a slave named Prelude, Prioleau, if I'm not mistaken. Horse is working, Divine Rights, and look like he's going. I don't want y'all scrapping over Horse. Scrapping in the chat. We better call Horse.
So I know that, like, my connection to Charleston, South Carolina. I think one of my third great grandfather's name was Amos Hurd. He was born 1809 in Charleston, South Carolina, and his father, his name was Henry Hurd, and he was a stage driver, and he was born like in the 1780s. I don't know what year, but around that time in Charleston. I know that Charleston. That if you ever seen like the metal door gates. And then ever seen the designs that's on the metal door gates? That's some of the designs that the enslaved people made. And then you can go to like the Charleston and see some of that there. You get what I mean? You ever heard of that, Mafia?
Nah.
Yeah. So I know Charleston got a lot of old buildings there that got even the Moors at the top of it. And got some of the old symbology of the old ways down in South Carolina. There's a lot of preserved neighborhoods, a lot of preserved. I think the slave market is still down there, if I'm not mistaken, in Charleston, where they sold the people at. Okay.
Yeah, man, that's powerful. Like I said, the Ottoman Turks, they also the ones that turned the Africans against the other Africans.
Right. And I think Lindell,
and all of them were like that. This was their modus operandi. So if anybody did contrary to that, because when you say they, that's pretty much a blanket statement. So all of them were like that. That's what you mean, right?
Who are you talking to?
You said the Ottoman Turks. So I'm taking it that when you say the Ottoman Turks, that means all of the Ottoman Turks were about this slavery.
And it says like if you didn't have the same type of religious mind.
Religion. Yeah, they converted those. They converted them from whatever they was practicing. I'm not sure if it was Kemet.
So the Moors historically were Muslim.
Yeah.
Nah. Not
And,
the
Hey,
Ottoman
what?
Turks. The Ottoman Turks converted them
yeah.
to Islam. Islam was converted from the Medjugorje. It was converted from the hieroglyphs, the script of the hieroglyphs.
The Moors were not Muslim.
You talking about,
They
you
was
got to remember,
converted.
Islam came like 620,
640.
640
That's when
AD.
Islam came. Yeah.
Okay, what year were you talking about?
So you talking about the Ottomans, you talking about before then. You talking about like when
Because the
thinking around
Ottoman
like
Turk Empire was the most recent empire.
I think the Ottoman Turks, you're dealing with Casablanca and all that type of stuff, right? I think that's what you're dealing with. And someone joined us.
Peace,
Yeah.
peace,
Yeah.
bro.
Peace, so
Hey, what up, though?
Peace.
Ottoman
Peace, bro.
Turk Empire is from the 14th to the early 20th century. Y'all talking about 600, 700, that's the 6th, 7th, 8th century. And all I'm trying to get to is that people watch us and expect us to know what we're talking about. So I'm just, those are 600, 700, 800 years most recently, or 600 AD, 700
640
AD.
AD. 640 AD. I thought I said that twice.
No, you said the Ottoman Turk Empire. And that's what I'm sharing with
And
you.
I said at 640 AD, my guy. This is what I said, bro. What's up with you? You challenging me on everything I'm saying today.
Well, when
What's
you
up?
say the Ottoman Turk Empire, that's a long period of time. And you say all
I said
of them.
640 AD, my
I
guy.
just
That's what I
disagree with
said.
you. And I like facts.
Come
That's
on,
it.
man.
I like
And that's a fact.
facts.
Go look it up.
I'm
I
not
can't
looking
help
it up.
without
You brought it on
bringing
this
up
show, so I
information.
expect it to be factual.
Okay, it is factual. Check it out, though. Look up
I'm
the
not
facts.
checking it out. Hey, bro.
Oh, all right,
If either your facts are correct or they not. I don't
and
want to
it
give
was.
people the
You
impression.
ain't heard of it, though, my guy. You ain't heard of it. That's why
Yeah,
you
how do
keep
you know what I've
asking.
heard of?
Because you keep asking about it. If you would have known, you would have
Because
known what
obviously
I'm
your
talking about.
explanation isn't making sense.
Okay, because you don't understand it. Then say
So
that.
make it make sense. That's it.
I said the Ottoman Islam got with the Ottoman Turks took the Islam to the Africans in 640 AD. This is what I'm talking about. Let's look at the brother Craig say. The original Moors were not
I'm not
Muslims. They were
looking at what
converted
somebody
to
else.
Islam.
I'm talking to you, brother. Islam started what in Saudi Arabia. Now we're talking about the Ottoman Turks.
Islam didn't start in Saudi Arabia.
It didn't. Where's Ibn Abdul Muhammad from?
He wasn't the first prophet, bro, of Islam. Islam is the low vibrational script of the Medjugorje, of the hieroglyphica, Kemetic language.
But that mafia, see what you talking about. We gotta realize, man, 90-something% of the people who know the history of Islam don't know that part. But I'm right there with you on that one though. Yeah. So
That's all I'm saying.
see Donnie speaking of the Prophet Muhammad, they came from Arabia, but you going past that and going all the way back to Kemet and the sort of lower frequencies of those particular hieroglyphics that they converted into Islamic texts is so that's what the confusion what I'm seeing right now, because I just jumped in on that particular bandwagon, but that's where that confusion is at. Now the Ottoman Turk part, I missed that part. I didn't hear that much.
Well, we were saying that a lot of the white slavery, that some of the Ottoman Turks enslaved some of the Europeans, especially like people from like Persia and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that particular degree of servitude had been going on for a long time, and those Eastern Europeans who were known as Slavics were some of the first ones. So we talking about the Russians, we talking about the Ukrainians, we talking about some of the people from Poland. So those particular people, Ubanistan, those particular groups of Europeans, yeah, they were in servants to some of those darker skinned ruling class dealing with the Scots and the Irish and the British all the way over into other parts of Europe that had a hierarchy, man. But when they first came over here, All those stories that they try to tell us about us coming from Africa, they were bringing Europeans in as servants. Then they were a bunch of alcoholics and mischief makers, man. And so if that's what because like I said, I just jumped in, so I don't know the whole conversation, but I seen what the title of the show was. So that's where the confusion came in. That they rewrote everything to make us think it was us that they brought over here by the millions, when it was the Caucasian servants that they brought over here by the millions.
Right, but then I think you kind of summed up basically what we was been speaking about. But then I'm up here thinking it's a little bit more mischievous, because a lot of us pick up that book 48, the 48 Laws of Power, and it goes into
Robert Greene.
Yeah, it goes into like the hierarchy of the Europeans, and it goes into what it called to start with a C. It goes into the manner of how they be polite on the surface, but be undercutting in business under the surface. And that's the culture that we live in. Say something nice, smile in your face, but at the same time stab you in the back. So when I'm up here trying to say that even being a white slave, it's more deeper than that, because it wasn't just about color, because the term white didn't come into the 1670s. So, you had people that was freely mixing amongst each other in that part of the world prior to them coming here. So what I'm saying is that the term white is a buffer for just this place over here. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm meaning that in order to make this place go and float, that they needed a buffer between the higher class European and the lower class, like you say, these drunkards and these people that owe taxes and the undesirables. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Well, those same low cred, what they call white trash people. A lot of people, who are in these uniforms or in these positions of authority based on, governmental paperwork, that they can have the power to, make it to where is that we can either go forward or have to go backwards. That's what Khalid Abdul Muhammad said, that we as a people, we don't have the power to be racist, because racism equals prejudice plus power. So we don't even have any power, to be racist in that degree. But yeah, that was all a scam, man. Because according to the Moorish Temple of America, white means pure, pure means God, and God means ruler of the land. And that was never talking about a skin color; it was talking about a bloodline. Their pure bloodline, or how their sister Brenda Bennett was saying, the E1B1As.
So
Yeah, so it's always.
So you're saying that you're saying it's a bloodline instead of a color. So so within that bloodline, it could be any color, right? Because you are your father and your mother, or your father.
Well, no,
right?
that's particular classification, because we got to realize that once upon a time it wasn't nothing but melanated, woolly-haired, nine-ether beings on the planet. So these other grafted hybrids that were created in a laboratory purposely, when they came on the scene, because they can amalgamate in with the indigenous people of the land, doesn't give them the actual blood tie to the blessings of the universe. Still sort of, that's why I said Galatians chapter 3, if you read that, they try to encode that, said that Jesus Christ became a curse for them, because it says that everybody is hung on a tree becomes a curse, that they will receive the blessing of Abraham through the blood. So that particular degree of science right there is needs to be looked at in order to understand. But yeah, man, it's we create 16 different shades, all the way from purple, black to albino.
Right. Like for the people that's looking on and that don't understand like ether, I know that it's like from like 9 to 6, right? If I'm not mistaken, you got 9, 8, 7, and 6. And it seemed like us as being quote unquote Negro, that, or indigenous people, we cover the spectrum of 9 and 8, right?
Yeah, we
And
9 and 8, most definitely 9 for sure.
right, and that's like the curliness of the hair follicle, right?
Yeah, well, that's just one pattern that it plays out on the physical side. But the
Okay.
9 ether, would allow you to take your macabre, which is your body of light, and travel to many different dimensions consciously. Because see, in all actuality, we're not even supposed to be buried 6 feet deep. We're supposed to be buried 9 feet deep. But see, they know the sciences that we have lost, over the centuries. But it's coming back to fruition eventually. But yeah, but when it comes to those people that you're talking about, those Caucasian slaves, yeah, they were indentured servants and slaves or Slavs, when they came over here. And so the rich and ruling class, whether they be black or white, they came from those different parts of Europe, initially coming from Spain and Portugal, and then other parts of Scotland, et cetera, et cetera. They were intelligent enough to create a system that would create a difference between the skin colors, and therefore, because there's no way in the hell that a guy that's standing in the medium that has white skin holding a sign saying we'll work for food is better than me because his skin color. That's impossible, even according to the laws of physics and Mother Nature. But it was all a scam, man, from the get-go, man, and they've been exposed for the scam in its entirety for the most part.
So when you expound on that bloodline, so is that the same thing like we kind of seeing with the presidency, like them being related, like with Obama being related to Bush and all them?
All them cousins, man.
Cousins.
That's that same ruling hierarchy out of Europe, but they still got some what can I say? They still got some CEOs that look just like us.
Right, and that was another thing that we got into, Horace, before you got on. We got into like the surnames Moore and Goins being the black or the Negro surnames affiliated in these countries like Scotland and Germany. I also expounded on the name Swartz, SCHWARTZ, meaning black, and that's like in the Germany, like Schwarzenegger. They got the ties to the Moors as well. And one of the comments was the swarthy, SWARTHY definition, and I know that's like some Europeans will say that's them looking olive green or with a tan. You get what I mean? But that's like that Moorish DNA intermingling with the Europeans, right?
Yeah, well, that part I'm not too familiar with in its entirety, but if I sit back and think about it and do a little research on what you're saying, I have a better answer. But so far as them mixing in, that was their whole job, to mix in and create confusion. Because if you look now, what's going on, and this might be a little off subject, but with them bombing Venezuela, they just finished letting the Venezuelans in. But see, like I was saying on the previous show, that they had starved the people in Venezuela out in opposition to their own government over 10 years ago. And then they try to come and play Captain Saver nation, and then they treated them people like garbage. Now they bombing them, man. So we're dealing with there are no pacts between lions and men, man. And we expect a dog to stop barking because we feel like it's unmoralistic for him to keep on barking. Well, he's sadly mistaken, man.
So don't Venezuela got some type of gas or oil down there? Independence, they got a lot of oil or something that they trading with, like Russia and China or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, brother. I haven't even looked into it that far into Venezuelan resources and stuff like that. Somebody else might be better suited to answer that other than me.
Because I'm up here trying to think, like Venezuela has been in the news lately, I think for the gas. And some place down there had to do with the gangs where they arrested all the gang members or something. They put them all in jail somewhere. And I think that's Venezuela, if I'm not mistaken. Because somebody in the comments, if they know anything about that, about the gang members.
That's what they've been reporting about as far as in the natural oil and the resource that they have there. And they was also pinpointing the connection that they have with Cuba.
But I thought they see that's some, getting into the politics and the reasons why, what I'm saying, they do certain things is, you'll be scratching your head forever. You know what I'm saying? It's
That's why you
like,
got
why
to
they
study
do.
that. That's why you got to study them that 1 to 20, 1 to 30, 1 to 40 of the Nation of Islam that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad brought forth. If you study that, you would know. Or even if you listen to that video that I put in the group chat the other day, where the sister was asking Chat GPT, where did they come from? We fighting a losing battle, man, thinking that that we can dance our way into the hearts of people who holding guns at our heads. It's not gonna work.
That's the greatest thing that they known for is death and violence. They're not known
Death
for
and
nothing else
violence.
in the world.
That's why Elijah Muhammad said you have to hit the devil with the same amount of force that he hits you with. So all these cats that's coming on here talking about this old love frequency and all this other stuff, they may be either think that they're agents or that they're cowards, defeated cowards.
Mm.
Jeff Ford said it will be no killing without killing. So we dealing with people that they don't understand any other language other than that. And I mean, it's unfortunate that we haven't grasped the reality
That's
of that yet. But yeah,
my Killer Mike just said the same thing. He just said
yeah,
that there's no freedom without violence.
it is. Nah. Yeah, no. How can just imagine if you're a cat and you being, you got pit bulls in authority over you. Everything that they're going to do is going to be for the advantage of the pit bulls, not the cats. So the cats keep on sitting back talking about we going to summon the love frequency to get these pit bulls. Now they got to devise another plan. It's insane to keep doing the same thing and expect different results.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's real, man. That's real. And you always say, what do you say? They won't stop until they look death in the face.
Yeah, I got that from Honorable Noble Drew Ali. He said the European
Yeah,
would not stop until he looks death in the face. Those are facts.
absolutely.
Have you guys ever seen that photo of the original European? I think his name was they call him Cheddar Man. You ever heard? You
That
ever
name
seen
ring
it?
a bell.
Yeah. If you
That
can
can't
look
be
at a
Cheddar Man.
picture of Cheddar Man, it's a black man. That's the original European. That's the one they found. That's the oldest bones they found in Europe. They call him Cheddar Man,
Wonder
and it's
why
a
they
black
called him
man.
that.
Yeah, it's a black man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
well, we
like,
might.
huh?
No, we might as well, get used to knowing that we encompass the entire planet.
Right. And I think
If we came here a million years ago, we couldn't find no. We might have found a couple of red bones that just had to be the result of a recessive gene, and maybe a couple of albinos, here and there. But usually in nature, if you study nature, usually when they have albino animals, that they usually will take them out.
it's like a freak of nature with the albino, um,
Yeah.
the albino breed. So kind
And
of
shout
off
out, shout out
subject.
to my albino Nubians too. Nothing against them at all.
So kind of off subject. How you feel about today? So with our teams meeting today, Horace?
With what, my brother? Oh, you talking
Football.
about Detroit and Chicago?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you know what, man? I'm salty,
I
but
know.
I'm not a bit surprised, man. Like I said, I just jumped back on Chicago's bandwagon this year, man. And as a matter of fact, I'm probably gonna throw my Bears head out the window, man, once I get the rolling, man, because I'm sick of the shenanigans, man.
Don't
I'm
do
tired
it.
of the heartbreaks, man. Sick of the
Right.
heartbreaks, man.
Don't
Yeah,
do
I'm
it,
sick of the
bro.
heartbreaks.
But they
Yeah,
still in the
I'm gonna
playoffs,
start back
though.
with Baltimore and San Francisco. Go back to my old two teams. Yeah,
Is they
Right.
still in the playoffs?
yeah, they are. Yeah, they most definitely in the playoffs still,
Yeah,
but
they just got to
they
step
done
their
lost the
game
last
up.
two games, man. Those two games was important. But I'm
Okay.
gonna tell you, you got to watch out for. You got to watch out for Seattle.
Seattle. Okay, I'm gonna keep an eye on them guys. And
Mhm.
so the conversation is pretty decent today. Anything else on you guys' mind you want to discuss?
Oh man.
Yeah.
No, not necessarily. Always a pleasure to build with the gods, man.
Yes, it was
Yeah,
always.
I apologize for jumping on late, man. You know, I had a little truck trouble, so I went on ahead and turned it off, man. And where's Planet Wells at?
Yeah,
I
he
think.
having electrical power grid outage out there where he at.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out to the elder.
Yeah. So Divine Right says Harvard brought us Cheddar Man.
Harvard.
In Harvard University, you know, they done did a lot when it comes to the
Implement.
history here, you know, the information, but also directly affecting us. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I was saying implementing certain things
Yeah.
into the social order of information.
Right. You know, starting Indian schools and, you know, starting, you know, with theology, religion, you know, basically a lot of this stuff that we're dealing with is religious, you know, people's beliefs, you know, even the cities we live in and how they made up is got some type of religious orders behind it, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I want to send a special shout out to Mama T for the work that she did when she was bringing forth the information about these incorporated dates in these states and how they use the astrological principles as well as timing to harness certain energy to put into a lot of those states. What's the word that she used? I can't think of the name of it, man. But the energy harness, because you can feel it when you go from state to state, man. You can cross over and from Alabama and into Mississippi, you can feel the energy shift.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Then when you
Absolutely.
shop, yeah, and when you cross over in from Mississippi into Louisiana, you can feel the energy difference, man. So it's real, but we just, man, you know, we done lost touch with our sciences, man.
Right.
We done lost touch with our sciences, yeah.
Yeah, most of us don't even leave the places that we from now. You know what I mean? Or venture out. Here go Planet.
Yeah.
Hey, Planet, what up, though?
A
It's
planet
Planet
in the.
Wells. Look like he's coming in here soon.
Oh, okay.
There
Oh,
we
you must have
go.
heard me speak his name.
Hey,
Peace, planet.
Yes,
peace,
sir.
peace.
Peace, planet. Peace,
Yeah, how you
brother.
doing today, Planet?
Yeah, I've been having a real technical problem
Okay.
with I don't know how long the line will even stay open. They're got a lot of wind and I'm in the jungle, so it takes the internet out and all that.
Okay. Is it storming?
It's getting ready to. Big
Okay.
storm coming. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
How's
tonight,
everybody doing?
I'm doing
All is
fine.
well, man. No
Good,
complaints.
Yeah, all is truly well.
And so tonight we had a provocative conversation. We talking about Europeans that's been enslaved or indentured. You know, we went into the Ottoman Empire, enslaving Slavic people. We went
Okay.
into several things. We went into, like Horace was just talking about, how the states are in certain places are on got certain different frequencies, and someone in the comments said that the states are organized on ley lines. You know, it's just a lot of, you know, this conversation that we having here tonight has been an intense one. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Really passionate. You know, a lot of the information it covers a lot of areas. You know, we talked about Inky and Enlil. You know, that was one of the topics that kind of brought a lot of
Oh, the
I guess passion. You know what I'm saying?
Sumerian.
Yeah, the Sumerians.
Uh-huh.
You know, I think that's it's stages of learning the past, and you know, Inky and Enlil, that's kind of back there. I kind of made the semblance between the cosign people in South Africa being the closest people that have beliefs that's kind of in line with that. You know,
Okay.
so we done covered a lot. I kind of try to bring home and show how this indentured servitude or this white slavery kind of influenced the European, Scottish, and Irish folks that amalgamated in the native tribes here to vie for certain privileges or certain trinkets from their cohorts, the people from Europe. You get what I mean?
Mm.
Kind of show the correlation between these Scottish and Irish folks being enslaved to them coming in and marrying the mothers of these tribes and becoming chiefs and then selling the land.
Mm.
So that's
Right.
where we are with this conversation here.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They scrambling the data like Soul Train. Yeah.
No, for
And you know,
real.
if you don't mind, so the in live and the in key thing, you know, that same story plays out over different geographical locations. I mean, we have Horus and Set. We have Jesus and Satan. You know what I mean? We always had these two opposing forces, and so now, according to you know, the biblical documentation of dealing with the Nephilim, to my studies, those are who the children of Enlil are supposed to be, because they saw the daughters of men and they came down and they bore children to them. So now I sort of, you know, run that parallel to what the Honorable Prophet Noble Drew Ali said when he said that some of these things that look like people are not people, but they're evil spirits incarnated into the flesh. So it most definitely seems like, man, we dealing with some people that don't belong on this planet, because everything that they do has a destructive undertone to it, or a destructive you know, that's the end to their means, is destroy, confuse, war, blood. There's never a day of peace. You know,
Mm-hmm.
just can you guys imagine how it would be, man, if we could turn on the news for an entire week and it just be all peace? But no, man, they keep the shit going on 24/7,
Right.
365
Right.
all the time, man. And that's not natural, man. That's not natural.
And a lot of this behavior, it has rubbed off on a lot of us in a lot of
Yeah,
ways,
of
like
course it does.
being
Hmm.
savages and the mannerisms that a lot of us take on today. It's not a youth thing, but it's a widespread thing amongst us. You know, I'm more on, if you listen to me, I'm more on like self accountability. You know, what someone else does to us is it might affect us, but what affects us is what we do and how we act. You get what I mean?
Yeah,
And
well, I
what
mean,
we
you're going to always be a product. You're a product of your environment, man. You go into a greenhouse, you're subject to have green thumbs.
deep,
You see what I'm
deep.
saying? And I mean, it's the reality of it. But like Khalid Abdul Muhammad said, that we take on the nature of our enemy and our oppressor, the nature and the characteristics. Remember back in the days, man, when you would hear something happen
Yeah, you
and
can
you be like,
point
oh
out
man,
who
I
it
know that.
was.
You can, man, you already know, man. But now,
Yeah,
man, you can't even
you
tell, man.
can't. Yeah, and that's, you know, I was talking about that a while ago. Like, yeah, we knew, oh, it can't be one of us being some mess like that. But now, you know,
Yeah.
and that was
Yeah,
back in the
we done become just like them, man.
right.
Yeah,
So that's why,
unfortunately, yeah.
like if so, think about this. You know, I see like someone talking about Venezuela and being invaded. You know, so think about a foreign entity invading this place. Will they make a difference between us and them? Will they say, hey, they different than this group of people here, or will they classify as all the same?
Man, let me tell you, brother. Yesterday, I went and was going to pick my daughter up, and I seen, you know, how they had the mannequins out with the little jogging suits on them. So I said, well, on the way back, you know, in that direction, I was gonna take her in there, and so she could pick out some jogging suits. So it was some Asian people in there. You know, the guy looked like he could have been in his 60s, and the lady looked like she could have been her mid to late 50s. And man, they were very shrewd and nasty for no reason whatsoever. But I understood it's because they don't like my kind, even though they own my land.
Right.
You know, so we dealing with this, and I mean, it's a reality that we got to deal with these people on our land, because we have been under the impression for a long time that because these people do business with us, that they like us, man. They don't like us. They like our money.
Right. But then it's like they don't got no repercussions because shit, we're gonna go back and shop with them because we got nowhere else to go shop. You
Yeah,
know, it's no repercussions, no shutdowns. You get what I mean?
yeah, Yeah, man. Yeah.
If it was, they'd just change it and it'd be a new owner. You know, it's like where we at. It's like we stuck like here, like well in Detroit. It was what happened? You know, the guy was at a gas station. You know, the guys put a gun on him, and he ran out and jumped over the freeway and died. You get what I mean? They went there, the protesters shut it down for a minute. They made him leave, and then the eyes back open. You get what I mean?
Back open. Back
So,
open.
you know, think about what happened back in Compton in LA. Remember the young girl that got killed in the store?
Yeah, they shot in. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They
Shot
did that in New York too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like we're protest but still these people still be where we at. But it was a time when before our neighborhoods was just us, remember? Like in the 80s, like the late 70s, the 80s, early 90s, and a lot of that stuff was us. You get what I mean?
Right.
Owning the penny candy stores and the gas stations and the hardware stores, the pest stores, and you know the PEST stores. You know, we had all that here down here in Detroit. You know, we was probably the biggest, blackest city in the country. You get what I mean?
Yeah, well, our people still don't get it. Is that they won't give us anything to create generational wealth, you know, in mass numbers, but a church. And well, let me say that that creates generational wealth for certain families, of course. But I'm saying that they won't give us anything that the other people that's in our communities are sending their kids to colleges. They buy yachts, you know, $1 million houses, et cetera, et cetera. But the only thing that they would give us quicker than anything is a church.
Like stipends. I'm pretty, you know, for a minute I was kind of sure that certain people get stipends from the government. There's no way they have this type of money. You get what I mean?
Absolutely.
And like the homestead, you know.
Yeah, they on our land and they have dealt us a raw deal. There you go. What's up, Donnie?
Hey, big brother.
All right.
Do you think they are supposed to give us anything?
Well, I mean, they owe us everything.
You know they're not going to give us anything.
No.
Yeah. You know, that's just like people crying for reparations. So from their perspective, they already paid the people that own slaves reparations. So they'll never pay reparations. Yeah.
Yeah, they gave them reparations, but you know, they're you know, if you pay close attention, that the hatred towards us on the land, it's not because we from Africa. You know, this is a design, you know, this hate toward the Indians or the indigenous people that's on this particular land. But no, so far as them giving us something, no, they not gonna give us anything, man.
You know, on one of our shows, we were talking, it was a local show, we were talking about the bully. Y'all grew up in the community. In most every community, rural, suburban, inner city, there's always a bully.
Always.
And I remember having a conversation with Maria Broom. She was a local, one of the first Black women on television here. And this is years after she was on television. She was talking about the bully. And she was speaking about the bully in a kind way because she was an educator at the time. And part of her thing was the bully needs to be loved. Well, having grown up on North Avenue, and I'm sure you got a North Avenue in every city, what we know is the only thing a bully understands is when you know,
give him a dose of his own medicine. Yeah.
Bust his damn head. We call it an alley apple. Oops, upside the head. That's the only thing a bully understands.
Yes,
they don't. I mean, maybe some people. I'm not an educator. I don't claim to know. Maybe you can love a person out of bullying, but in the community, in the hood, the only thing a bully understands is when they get beat up. And all of y'all had to face a bully, I imagine, at some point in time. Did you, Mafia?
Absolutely.
Planet?
Oh yeah.
You avoided it. You avoided it. You avoided it. You avoided it. You tried to avoid it. But your mama told you don't come in here crying.
Right. They got to fight. I was a fighter, young. I'm telling you that.
Yeah, I ain't mind fighting, but I ain't gonna be picked on or bullied either. So I ain't with none of that.
Indeed. True indeed. But see that's those are my sentiments exactly. We been bullied, you know, and I keep stressing over and over again. And well, you know, I used to be real adamant or heavy into the, you know, giving my energy to that until the day when they found George Zimmerman not guilty for killing Trayvon Martin. And I saw that the black community didn't budge none. I gave up. I threw the towel in right then. Because I knew that we were going to continue getting bullied and bullied and bullied and bullied. And you know, you got a few times when they have a few what they call them protests, and you know, dudes will go up in the stores and, you know, steal a few jogging suits and, you know, some Jordans and some liquor, but that ain't nothing, man. You know, see, they knew what it was when the O.J. Simpson trial was going on. They knew that had they found O.J. Simpson guilty, then it had been almost like putting your hands on Louis Farrakhan.
Oh yeah, they knew there was gonna be some situations that would have happened, but they found him guilty in another court. And
on the civil, on the civil side, yeah.
And then in socially they got him. You get what I mean? You know,
yeah, but they knew what it was then, because they knew it was a different breed of warriors on the land at that particular time.
Right. I think we was.
These dudes not wearing fingernail polish, man.
Yeah. Look how it went since that march on Washington when we was all together, over 1 million of us together. Ever since then, it's been a decline since then.
Yeah, but that 1 Million Man March, and you know, no disrespect to anybody, but that's why the Million Matriarch March is much more important and more powerful, because you know, you go on taking 1 million man to demand for reparations for a group of people who don't even have an organized nationality that they could bring before the world court. So, and then you listen to one guy doing all this speaking, that's not raising any frequencies and any energies at all. You know, we need energies and frequencies raised, man, because this fight is most definitely spiritual.
Yeah, you make up a good point. You can't fight this place here and say you just American Indian. You gotta say
we're
that
not American.
Yeah, you gotta speak your tribe, your clan, your mother. Yeah, what mother you come from, and she's attached to a certain portion of land here. That's the key. You know,
but if we were American, we would be treated like we're American.
Yeah,
we have to be damn stupid to call ourselves a name where we are disrespected constantly by the people who call themselves the same thing.
Right. That's the only thing I'm saying is I'm saying like saying like the Muskogee, they call themselves Ichisia, ICHISIYA. That connects us to the mound builders. You get what I mean? That the mounds in the southeast, just by saying Ichisia. Yeah.
I got a clip from you from the chat. This is from Gregory. He wanted us to see this, so I'll share. It's 40 minutes, but we'll hear the clip of it, piece of it.
Happy New Year's, everyone. Before we get into this video, here's a message from our sponsor. Enjoy.
Before this nation was named, indigenous black peoples lived, built, and governed here. Great world fairs were remnants of their cities.
Damn, I like that. Did you catch it?
I caught it.
Happy New Year's, everyone. Before we get into this video, here's a message from our sponsor. Enjoy.
Before this nation was named, indigenous black peoples lived, built, and governed here. The great world's fairs were remnants of their cities. Across this nation once stood many centers of black commerce, not one Wall Street, but many. These communities were connected by trade, by innovation, by grand world fairs. They represented an older world still alive. And that continuity.
So this video's got 2.3 thousand views. It went up 2 days ago. We need to go research this, make sure it's good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he said what
This was
right
put up 2
outside
days
New York.
ago. I say that because we do live in an age of AI.
Right.
And honestly, frankly, with all due respect, we have to question everything.
Right. But it made me think about Queens. Anybody been up to Queens and seen that globe, the big globe that's out there?
Yeah.
And
Queens,
won the
New York.
World's Fair there.
Yeah.
Chicago.
Went to it.
Yeah, Chicago or St. Louis won the World Fair there. St. Louis.
St. Louis. And see, the World Fair in St. Louis, it's ironic that they have the nodes upside down, the directions upside down. So if you enter in from the northern gate, you're really entering in to the southern gate in the fair.
You're talking about from the
if you understand what I'm saying.
You're talking about from the arts?
No, I'm saying that because if that particular fair in St. Louis, they got all these different. They got Morocco there. They got Jerusalem there.
Yeah.
They got Egypt there inside of the fair. You know what I'm saying? But everything is upside down. Is like I was saying about how the law of physics defy what they've been telling us about the north being the north and the south being the south, according to how heat rises. But they got everything going in those particular directions in those fairs, but they got those particular locations right there. And I thought about something. Remember the other day that I was saying about the Midwest is really the Mid-East? Well, when it comes to being dyslexic, our clock is dyslexic as well. That's why in Mecca, when they do tawaf around the Kaaba, they circumambulate going in counterclockwise motion the same way that the zodiac goes in.
Could you say that word again? What you call it?
Tawaf. That's the name of the ritual when they circumambulate around the Kaaba 7 times in Mecca.
So
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so in the Muskogee language, a city or a town is called a tawa.
Yeah. But to my point is that the zodiac, the tawaf, and I haven't researched or what else, but everything and our natural way to write from left to right, everything goes in that counterclockwise motion except for our clock over here. You know, our clock goes in the dyslexic way and everything. So I'm saying that if our clock goes in the counterclockwise motion, in reality, then the Midwest will most definitely be the Middle East if we follow that clock in the direction analysis along with the zodiac.
Yeah, I see what you mean by that. How we in Greenwich means time, and then each time you go east, that it goes from G H I J K all the way to that way. But you're saying that it's kind of backwards, and that's
because it's dyslexic. They taught us everything dyslexic for a reason. See, this was mastery, man. This was alchemic and scientific mastery, geometric mind effing that they did to teach us in the dyslexic manner.
Right.
To read and write from right to left, or our clock go from right to left when everything goes the way in the natural flow of things. You know, according to the laws of nature and the laws of Tawaf, Tauret, dealing with the zodiac. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense because the time that we're using is actually for the railroads. You get what I mean? And that was actually to keep time with the solstices, and it's actually not perfect. That's why you have leap years and stuff like that to make up for certain time that was lost.
But what about the calendar being changed, though? What about the calendar being changed?
They talking about like the Gregorian, and you talking about Julius Caesar and Augustus.
And when they created time, when time started to be recorded, though.
According to their time, the Gregorian, yeah. Well, I mean, even you got the Jason Society from July, August, September, October, November spells Jason, and then when you got August and September, in there. Those particular months were added in there, so it's supposed to only be 10 months,
10
based
months.
based on the laws of when you are conceived in the womb of your mother. You're only in there for 9-10 months.
Yeah, for that's the year. You get what I mean? So basically, we all a year older than what we actually is, and actually, we only got one birth date, and doing anything else is actually not truth. You get what I mean? Because that day is not the same day. You get what I mean?
Well, you know, I'm with Mafia. We're not older than we don't even have an age, date, or range, because each day that we live, or each second that we breathe, we have a brand new experience. So how can we be getting older having new experiences?
So you disagree with like the popular synthesis that gray hair is a carbon, like you getting too much carbon and you aging or some shit, like, excuse my language, stuff like that?
Well, I'm saying it's a deficiency, but I think that what it is in this society is the foods that we put in our body, as well as the stresses that we are facing. Because just like how we was talking, remember back in the days, man, when you would touch somebody all the time, you'll always get shocked.
Yeah.
Right.
Where did that go to?
See what
I'm saying?
Is it pineal? What they call it? Is it calcified?
Well, no, that's a possibility of what it is. They probably calcify our pineal glands, but as well that they have been feeding us all of these low frequency foods that have got rid of us being electric beings.
Yeah, like all the snacks like Snickers and all these gummy bears and all these box foods, and
everything,
of foods and stuff like that.
Everything, like Wells always say, man, they want to change over the natural to the artificial, and that's what they've been doing slowly but surely. That Golden Child movie, and I'm gonna let y'all talk, but that Golden Child movie with Eddie Murphy, is what everybody need to see, and the Gladiator 2 with Denzel Washington. Only thing person got to do is study his role in that movie, and we'll see what we're dealing with, that unseen hand right now.
Is he playing that September guy from over there, Denzel?
September guy, yeah.
That
part I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, that part I don't know.
Yeah. So in Canada, you know, they go to the 13th grade. You ever heard of that?
The 13th grade? No.
Yeah, so that's across the water from Detroit. So a lot of them come over here and we go over there. So their high schools go to the 13th grade.
I wonder what that's about.
Like
it's some significance with it. You believe that?
You know, like you go in tall buildings, there's no 13th floor. You ever know that?
Oh yeah. Well, you know, like I said, man, anything that they're afraid of, I want to, you know, go run towards it. You know, because my enemy could never tell me that something is bad for me. I mean, come on, man. You know, somebody that's bad for me gonna tell me somebody else is bad for me. It doesn't make sense. You don't have my best interest at heart. So why would you tell me that? You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I'm against that HPV vaccination. You remember how that just came up out the blue, and you had to give it to the girls. You know, my daughter was becoming a teenager, and they said, "Well, give them this shot, the HPV-1 or whatever that stuff was." I'm against all that type.
Depo
Provera.
Yeah. Shit, everybody born in the 70s, and I don't know if this is for, you know, other races of people, but you know, the black people that were born in the 70s, everybody have a black dot on their arm.
Yeah. What's that from?
Shit, something that they put in this, man. Who knows what it could possibly be, man? It could be something that, you know, could be like branding, how they brand cattle, or, you know, number cattle. Who knows, man? I mean, we dealing with, you know,
Yeah, I seen a video of a Congress where they was debating whether the food should have vaccines in it. A head of lettuce could have a vaccine in it when you go to the market tomorrow.
Do you notice that people you're dealing with? This is what they think of us. This is in Belgium. This is a black girl and a melanated girl in a zoo. This is what you're dealing with.
But even worse, you see what the Leopold was the king, right? You see what he did to the people. He was cutting arms off.
But it was another one. Man, I'm about to find this cat. It was another Leopold too. Him and Leopold was running neck and neck with the slaughtering of indigenous people over there in Alkebalan. Yeah, he was responsible for as many people being slaughtered as Leopold, if not more.
So if y'all remember, a few years back, they had some type of, might have been an explosion or something in Belgium. And because we don't know our history, you had black people on Facebook putting up, "I stand with Belgium." Like, do you really know who Belgium is?
Right.
You know, if something happened in France, "I stand with Paris." Do you know what the French have done to your people? Do we know?
No.
I mean, the Belgians, they cut off arms, legs for a whole tribe. This them right here, King Leopold of Belgium, rotten bastard. Wish we knew where he was at so we could dig him up, kill him, and bury him again. This bitch right here.
You got that right.
This bitch.
Yeah, I'm gonna find that.
Know your enemy,
man.
Know your enemy.
But then you got to look at the regalia on that outfit. That goes on other outfits and other organizations too, from other countries as well. So you got like that, like the shoulder thing, the thing that's going around his neck that's called regalia.
No, Gregory English, you off. No, the last video was up 2 days ago, and I'm not sure that was JFK. I done researched it, and I could not find that was a JFK clip. I've Googled it. So no, Gregory, you got to do your homework. You can't do it. But this is his latest comment.
Okay, I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, well, see, even Leopold, he had that particular crypto Jew bloodline of people that looked like us that were controlling the strings. That's how he was able to dress like that. See what I'm saying? Because you don't pull a monkey out of the jungle and he automatically, go to Lord Taylor and he get jiggy with it. No, he got to have somebody to show him what to put on and to dress him.
Right. Yeah, you're right. That's indeed, what you said right there is really deep with the what they call them crypto Jews that was over there, right? Or Jews that's hidden. That's like what the Huguenots and a lot of them
Gentries.
Yeah. I was researching like Jesuits and the difference between a Jesuit and a Catholic. And the only difference is the Jesuit was the plantation owner. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to actually put foot to ground and was working the plantations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. So we dealing with a situation, man, that is going to have to take something else, for the results that they're going to have to get. And shout out to my people in Haiti and to my people in Zulu and to my people in Ethiopia. You know what I'm saying? For never, refuse, for not accepting
and fighting all the way. Never stop
fighting all the way, but never stop fighting. Yeah, to never stop fighting. Yeah, shout out to them, man.
The European know East Africa. They better watch this stuff. They know them Somalis and them Ethiopians got a long history of fighting. They have no problem fighting. They have no problem.
And notice that the Ethiopians, just like the Haitians, man, they not no big dudes neither, man.
Oh no, they little small dude. A lot of courage though.
Yeah. Yeah, they ain't no big giants, man. Yeah.
what's going on in Norfolk, Virginia. That's where the Nasman tribe is
Yeah,
at.
the Senate hearing is real, Gregory, but those are two different venues. All I'm saying is research the JFK clip. Make sure he said that, because I can't find where he said that. And Gregory, why don't you just come on the show? We'll put our link in there. We love y'all to come on the show. And on that note, we were talking the other day, thank you to the people in the chat, because the chat is often the hottest thing cracking.
Seizure,
And I want to say shout out to the brothers. I think that one of the brothers in Atlanta, and I know one of them in Detroit. You know, they do something similar to what we be doing, and they on top of it. And they got one of the elder queens on there as well.
Okay. What's
Yeah. Next time I get on here, I'm gonna most definitely have their link.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, because I love it when I see, especially when the elders, when they on top of it. You know what I'm saying? That's when you know that the awakening is actually taking place, when the elders start to get it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Hey, Ghost.
Yeah, but I think you can find like if you want to find references of the natives being Negroes, like the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the Smithsonian, all that, they early documents said, especially with the Yamasee tribe. You know, when they talk about the Yamasees in South Carolina and the Guale, they use the term Negro for them.
You know, another thing too, if the Siberians, who they call Indians, are the indigenous people of this land who have been here for aeons, why are they only in governmental places, what they call them, reservations, and land that was given to them by the government, instead of them owning as much land? Because black people own more land in America than they do, and they never fought for the land, you know, the way we have been over the course of years. But I mean, the secret is out. I think that us still trying to explain to these people that we're indigenous to the land, man, is an oxymoron. We need to be trying to push how to you know, get what's owed to us, and how to get them off our land, you know, with all this devilishment that they keep on, you know, having going on for year after year, man. And I mean, frankly, man, I know the people got to be tired of it.
Yeah,
But I don't think they're going nowhere. I don't think they're going nowhere. This is a public conversation, so ain't like we trying to hurt nobody. But what do? You know, like here, I'm gonna give it to you 100. Right here in Sandtown, in Baltimore, we got squatters, and these ain't black people. These are non-black people that come to the black community, and they squatters. They go up in a house, and their goal is to get mail there. And people saying, oh, I can't get them out. I called the police. They got mail, blah, blah, blah. Me and Pharaoh will get them out of there. Me and Pharaoh will get them up out of there in 5 minutes. All this stuff. So how do we get these people who have come here, they've got addicted to the nipple of all of the fruits, the milk, the honey of America. How do we get them to leave?
Well, Thomas Jefferson said it best: supernatural interference, numbers, and natural means. And that God does not have an attribute that will side with them in such a contest. So it's inevitable. Whether we'll see it in our lifetime or not is the question. I mean, I would love to. Therefore, I can say, I told you so. Other than that, though, their own founders already knew what was going to take place. You know, that's why he said he trembled for, you know, God's justice, that his justice can't sleep forever.
You know, one of the things that this media does, and that's why this show is important. We have to have our own media. There's a local station, you got it in your town, Fox. Here in Baltimore, Fox says everything negative about black people, everything possible. And a black person could discover the cure for cancer and they would never make it on the news. But let a black person do something goofy, stupid, illegal, sexual, money, and they're all on it, and they run it. And they take one clip, Hannibal, and they'll run it. They'll run that one clip, like 24 hours. That's what Fox does that the other ones don't do. They constantly loop. That's what you call it, looping over and over to the point that we come to believe it.
Right. You see it enough times, you believe it to be facts. You get what I mean? That's what anything, or how you learn things, how you learn like your ABCs, you said it over and over again. So once you do things repetitiously, it becomes so. You get what I mean? So that has been the ways of this place since they've been here. And it continues to be the ways of it. But then at the same time, you got some of us perpetuating that image. It ain't just them saying it is so, it's some of us verifying it to be so. You get what I mean?
Well, he who controls images controls minds, and he who controls minds rules the world. When you push people down into the bottom of the barrel, they're gonna do things that are acquiescent. People would do things that's in the bottom of a barrel. So it's only natural. Or somebody rise above that, like Whale say, the weed, shoots through the concrete, but those are special occasions when we rise above those conditions. But for the most part, we're people that's been pushed down into the mud. And then these images that they keep pushing on us, being in the mud, well, we got racist people patrolling us, with guns on them. You get pulled over for the broken headlight. Man, you don't know, man, if that's going to be your time to die because of this dude. And the only thing they got to do is manipulate the police report and get away with it. So it's a lot that goes into that. And I mean, it's unfortunate, because you'll get tired of it when you see it. But at the same time, man, we have been a people, man, that's been worked on for 500 years and without any
They ain't broke us
letter,
yet, and we still here.
Well, that's some of us. Yeah, they haven't broken us, but man, some of us are still, man. Whenever you walk down and you see the warriors, man, I seen an Apache and a Comanche the other day. The dudes had on the miniskirts and fingernails and a wig.
Well, I wasn't going to touch this, but everybody in my circle, they got this picture of this pastor, Jamal Bryant, with his wife. And she got this dress on that looks, some people want to argue and say it's classy. Personally, having grown up in the church, I ain't never seen no first lady wear nothing like this. But that's what the discussion is in this town. And I thought about it, and what came to me this morning, it's the public emasculation of a black man. Because how dare you, black man, tell that woman what she can and cannot wear? That's one storyline. But the other storyline is you got to be out your damn mind if you think you're going somewhere with me dressed like that. You got to be out your goddamn mind.
What was
you out your mind and everybody with you out their damn mind. And it's time for the dogs to stand up. Not just me. Come on now. Be a man.
What kind of dress was it, though?
Going nowhere with nobody dressed looking like everybody looking at your girl. Is that a thing out? Come on, man. And then they want to justify. Oh, she look good. Shut your ass up. Sit down, shut up. That's why your ass single. Everybody, and it's the preacher's wife. And the preacher got a reputation for knocking out more than one woman in the church. Make it make sense. I just praised this dude 2 weeks ago for supporting the black boycott, the melanated boycott. I supported this dude. And you flip right around and come out there looking like a simp. Now, Mafia, I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
I mean, I haven't seen the picture, but I've seen some first ladies in my lifetime. You know what I'm saying? And I know, you know what I'm saying? But and I know that it's all a hoax. You know what I'm saying? It's all a hoax. They told people to create their own personal relationship with the Savior and all that. So it gave people more free reign to just do whatever they want, whether it's the first lady, the clergy, the bishop, whoever it is. They do what they want to do.
Nasty ass.
They do what they want to do because it's a hoax. The whole religious, everything about what they teach in the church, all of it is a hoax. So you get to act the fool and then go run and hide behind Jesus. There's a hoax. You right about that, Mafia.
I said I was gonna leave it alone. This morning I wanted to touch it. I said I wonder who's gonna be preaching about fashion today. So I'm gonna show you the dress. You want to see it, Horace?
Hell yeah.
Would you go out? Would you buy this dress for your wife?
Damn, that's the preacher's wife right there.
Yeah, that.
It-
I mean,
Oh
from
yeah.
a,
Oh yeah. She.
Oh.
Yeah. She working. She working.
Oh,
she
yeah.
working her number, and she working her number in that dress.
Oh, she look classy. Oh, she shut your
No,
ass.
that ain't classy,
Shut
man.
your
I mean,
ass down. Cause you
but
lost your damn mind.
no,
but see,
not at all.
by them supposed to be God's people, whatever you want to call it, you know, and she shouldn't even consider wearing something like that.
Right.
I wouldn't give a damn if they. I wouldn't care where they was going.
Yeah, from afar, you would think it's Beyonce with Jay-Z with his hair cut. You know, if it's
Or
small
either
and you can't see it.
Eddie. It look like or
At a
Teddy
distance.
Murphy. It look like Teddy Murphy. You know.
No, for real.
Yeah,
But
that
it's shit.
I mean, the
When you
dress
look
is
up on
fly
it,
though.
you can see through it.
Yeah, the dress is sexy as I don't know what, but that's that. I mean, for the preacher's wife, but like you say, Mafia, I mean, it's all a hoax, so they can do what they want to do, and the people are so blind that man, they'll be cheering that on, man.
Okay, it's cloth with lace. So what? You want your first lady in that? And let's go back to where we grew up. Can you imagine your grandma wearing that?
Nah. Not the church. Now she might wear a night slip when she going
That's
to
a
bed or something.
stripper's dress.
Yeah, nah.
Ain't that a vagina?
Yeah, it barely covered it. Man.
Come
Like
on, man.
like
And
Mafia say,
he's
it's a
standing up there
hoax.
looking like a goofy damn fool. Oh, I
It's a
stand by my.
hoax.
Sit your ass down, boy.
It's a hoax, though. I mean, but they're within their rights to do what they want to do.
This is character. You the preacher's wife.
Yeah,
I'm
because
tired
they
of
are
these
before
fake
them.
ass Christians sitting up here. Oh, no Holy Ghost covered Christian wearing that. Go sit down.
Yeah, but see, the Holy Ghost itself is a hoax. The whole demonstration is a hoax at its root. So anything that they do that's unorthodox like this here is well within their right to do it, because everything is a hoax.
Well, don't sit up there and say you nobody's pastor.
Yeah, the blind lead the blind. I mean, you know, it's hey.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but all like Mafia said, it's a hoax all the way down to its root level. I think that we don't really understand the severity of the Christian thing being a hoax from its inception, coming over here to Turtle Island. So we are 500 years deep into the Holy Ghost, to the shouting, into the word of God, that we don't understand that this had nothing to do with anything spiritual with our people in the first place. And that's what I was going to say too, is that, see, we worship the white man's God. The white man doesn't worship our God. Neither do we.
Ooh, what do you mean?
I'm saying we worship their God. You know, because if you could just imagine if we were in the power, well, we would actually have to manipulate white people in order to worship in a black Jesus, but they won't bow down to a black Jesus on a collective level.
I cannot agree with you, Horace. I showed you the picture.
I said collectively. You might have maybe, well, like Dr. Claude Anderson said, 88% of white people don't like us, which leaves 12%. So 12% might bow down. The other 88%, you can't get them to bow down. But you can get 88% of black people to bow down to a white Jesus and a white God, or even the concept.
I don't know about his masculinity, but I know if you're knocking off girls on the front row and your wife dressed like that, you can't be the moral authority for my house. Period. And ain't nobody lonely because they don't want to go out dressed with somebody look like a damn freak. Ain't nobody lonely. And matter of fact, since you mentioned that, the strippers out in Portland said don't come up in their club dressing all provocatively because they're at the front door waiting to fight They say the women coming in the club dress more sexually than the damn strippers. That's from a friend of mine who works in a strip club. Yes, I do know a friend in the strip club.
Yeah.
Okay then. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man.
Right.
You know.
I don't get out too much no more. But I do got a pole in my living room for when those participate.
You tipping? You
Nah,
making it rain in there?
nah,
Man, he's serious.
you know, for when I do want to be entertained, you know what I mean? But
I'd like to go back to the Kennedy video.
yeah.
Right? Okay.
Not true.
So why is that video there? Right?
Somebody's desperately seeking to justify or use it to make the case that we are indigenous.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that the one thing that we all have in common is we spend a tremendous amount of time on social media and on our phones and on our laptops, right? I think that originally it was a network to bring about information because there was a consensus that network news and this, that, and the other was peddling lies and false stories and this, that, and the other. So what came up out of the network of alternative media was that you could get some facts, right? So, you know, a lot of stuff was coming out of New York with 369's channel and was bringing about tremendous amount of information that people could, you know, find uses for in their life. That took off, and now we've got, you know, a plethora of influencers, right? So they're consistently putting out scams and putting out stuff like that. So why? So that you will distrust any information on the tube eventually, right?
Mhm.
So you have to see the motive behind it. It ain't just, you know, funny, ha ha type stuff. There's an intent to shift your perception. So now we live in an age where you have to fact check everything, right? I saw a thing today because, you know, my brother has this, you know, life-threatening prostate thing, and I noticed on my phone was a clip of Denzel Washington, someone that I actually know and have history with, and he's talking about a prostate formula. You know, all elegant. You know, not as an actor, but as a human being. You know, so I'm checking it out, and I actually tried to order it, right?
Okay.
And I did, you know, for my brother, I did, and then I got a call from the bank, and they said, "No, you are you aware that, you know, that you okay for this $600?" Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it wasn't Denzel. All of it was fake. So what's the message behind it? It's trying to tell you, right, that everything is fake. That's what it's trying to implant in your consciousness. So you can't take anything for granted anymore. you have to fact check everything, right?
Everything.
So some people, could get bolstered up, right? Some indigenous people could get bolstered up by that video and go out and say, no, President Kennedy said blah, 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 right? And then the detractors will say, no, you're full of shit. That shit never happened. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? To discredit the whole movement. It's more
I see what you're
sinister than
saying.
it looks.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, we only have each other, and we have to intensify that bond and intensify our communication and intensify our love for each other.
I agree.
We have patience for so many other people, but we seem to have very little patience for ourselves. We need to look at that.
Having patience for each other, and I agree with that. So any final words for you guys? We've been at it for over 2 hours now. Any sign off?
Shout out to the panel. Shout out to the chat.
Absolutely.
Sure indeed.
Absolutely.
So Planner, you think you can go and take us into the silence?
Sure. So let's concentrate on what's really, really important. Right? So when we talk about birthdays and we talk about this and that, we're talking about really the body matrix, right? So there's not a lot of control on. I haven't met anyone who doesn't cut their fingernails, right, when they grow long. So you can't not do that, right? Or they'll be like whatever knives, right? Or you won't be able to put on your shoes. Well, all of that growth happens automatic. So that's the body. But what is it that sees, okay, it's time to cut my fingernails or whatever, brush my teeth or whatever? What sees that, right? So the eye can't see the eye, right? You can only look through the eye. So you have to concentrate on connecting with your essence. And that essence is deep within and also without. But it seems as though you've got to go in to go out. All right. So that's why we try to introduce silence. Because that's the only way in. Right? And you just have to look at it and say, well, how could you go in? That's the only way you can go in. Right? Okay. Okay, so let's take a few deep breaths and hold it for 3 or 4 seconds and then slowly blow it out and do another one, right? Easy, right? So we're just going to breathe in again. breathe out. Okay. More on that later. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to follow the sound and see where it takes us. Comes in through the ears, and then where does it go? Right? Okay. Peace, peace, peace.
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 I say, I
Peace.
say.
Shame. All right, Horace Lee the fourth. You want to get us the libation?
I try to give it to y'all to the best of my ability, by way of memory. And before I want to do that, I just want to say something to Donnie when I had made the statement that we worship their God, that they don't worship ours. Well, one of the biggest scams was to make us think that it was only one God. That was the biggest scam. And the other thing is that our God would never, if we were really putting our energy into our God, the way we put into their God, our God wouldn't do us the way their God do us. So I want to start out by saying honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, to the most honorable Empress Vidayasi, the most honorable Empress Chief Rarebird,
I say.
Chief Warhorse, Dr. Ari Khanna, Dr. Joy DeGru, Sister Shahrazad Ali, Sister Vicky Dillard, and Mama T, Shada Shakur, Angela Davis, Kimber Vida of the Congo, Dr. Francis C. Welsing. I'd like to send a special shout out to Khadijah Muhammad.
I say.
I'd like to say the most honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Malcolm Malik El Shabazz, Clarence 13X, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the most honorable Malachi Z. York, Professor James Smalls,
I say.
my right hand man Julius Malema,
I
my
say.
other right hand man President Ibrahim Traore, my other right hand man General Barbecue of Haiti,
I say.
Omali Yeshatila,
I say.
um, 19 Keys, Dan Calloway, the legendary Top Cats, Rod Hayes, Young
Ashe.
Elder,
Ashe.
Karimio Hua,
Ashe.
Dr. Yaki Awakening, Dr.
Ashe.
Sebi, Dr. Leah Laha Africa, my man over at Taylor House Publishing, King
Ashe.
Randall,
Ashe.
the most honorable Donnie Glover for providing us with this platform for us to reach our people.
Ashe.
Ashe.
The most honorable Planet Wells for providing us spiritual guidance through these troublesome times.
Ashe.
The most honorable warrior, Hannibal James, for being on the front line was genealogy and giving us the information that can impact us going forward. The most honorable, wise, and intelligent young brother, Mafia Shakur, for his wise and intelligent ways, actions, and information. And to like to send a special shout out to the sister, Secrete Balance, for her input and her knowledge on the things that she knows about. All of our viewers who are 100% down with us on this indigenous movement here on Turtle Island, without any questions asked. Ashe.
Horace Lee the Fourth.
Horace Lee.
Gratitude, brothers. I hope I did all right, man. Anybody who
Nah,
missed,
Very good.
I ain't got
that
my
was
list
great.
out, man.
It's all good.
Get my list
That
out.
was a great job, bro.
Yes,
And a special shout out to Dr. Ray Hagans as well.
Ray Hagans.
Right.
What's that, down in New Orleans, right?
Is that where he at? I didn't think he was in New Orleans, but there's a possibility. I'm gonna have to check into that.
What was the name of the mayor at down there? What is his name? Ray Hagans?
Ray Hagans or Nagans.
Okay.
Before you go, Hannibal, you said people were watching the last show.
Oh yes, sir. It just, last show got some stirs and about Harriet Tubman, so we got a lot of response and a lot of views on that video of the response about our video about concerning Harriet Tubman.
So a response was done to our video.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Dane Calloway responded to the video, but it was a good video. There's no beef between the camps or nothing like that. It was, all good.
Yeah, and shout out to Dane Calloway. I forgot his name unintentionally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dane's still my man because he been a pioneer. As a matter of fact, Dane and Karimio who have been some of the first pioneers. See what I'm saying? Within the last 10 years. So yeah.
Yes, sir.
Good stuff.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll be back Tuesday at 8 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Peace out, y'all.
Peace.
Peace and blessings.
Peace.
Peace.